This is the long thread groove. This is the head of the needle, and the head of the needle must match the internal diameter of the needle bar. It has to fit precisely. If it's too small, it will not put the scarf in the proper position to the hook. The scarf is this little dip out right here in the needle. That is where the tip of the hook, the part underneath that's actually going to pick your thread up off of the back of the needle, is going to pick that thread up through the scarf and then carry it around the bobbin and bobbin case to complete the stitch. So you always have to make sure that that scarf is facing the hook tip, and then you always thread every needle towards the scarf. So in this orientation with this needle, the thread should be coming up. The tail of the thread should be coming up through the needle. When you install a needle, you always have to make sure that you push the head all the way to its stop, because what that does is the stop is set so that the eye of the needle is in the proper position for the tip of the hook to come through the scarf and pick up the thread and complete the stitch. And so if you'll notice, all of the needles, the needle heads, are all round. They're not like in home sewing machine needles that have a flat side so that you can't get it in wrong. This one you can put it in 359 degrees incorrectly. So you have to make sure you rotate this needle so that the scarf is facing the hook tip and the thread groove is facing opposite. And remember, the thread comes down the thread groove and then threads through the needle towards the scarf side of the needle. That's the tail of the thread. That's the part you're going to hold on to for the first 2 or 3 stitches as you start sewing. Looking at these packages, you will see a size and a system. So most of these are going to have a similar format to them, but the problem is they're going to have a lot of numbers on there for you to find. If there's any numbers that have a slash in them, like this one, that means that this number for this needle is the size of the needle. And there again, that's the size of the blade of the needle. So the larger the size, the larger the needle, the heavier the project that you can sew. These are European and American sizing. So they both mean the same thing. They're just from 2 different areas. So this one doesn't have a slash in there, but it is denoted and it's at the bottom. So this is a 125, size 125, 20 needle. So American and European sizing. Same thing here, 116. And on this one, you notice the sizing is up here, but it does have a slash in between, so it's easier to read this for the size of the needle. And we have over here, we have the same thing with a slash in between it. So those are the sizes of the blade of the needle. If you look, there's a bunch of different numbers over here, and these are different systems of needle. The system denotes the distance from the top of the eye to the top of the head of the needle and the diameter of the head of the needle. So the system has to match your machine, because if you put the wrong system in there, your machine will not function. And you actually can cause damage to your machine. So it's important that you get the correct system. And these numbers all mean the same system. DPX17 is used by some machines because they want you to buy the needles from them. And if you don't know, 135X17 and DPX17 are the same needle, then you would more than likely go to this company to buy their needle. When you see the numbers like this, 135X17, that usually means that is the most common needle system. This one, that company wants you to buy the needles from them. They give it a real odd number. And so they make more money by putting an odd number on it and making you buy the needles directly from them. So it's important that you get the system of needle that is for your machine, and then the size of the needle is for the project that you want to sew. It's better to err on having a needle that's a little bit too heavy than a needle that's a little bit too light. A little bit too light means you can flex and break needles, which the broken needles and the flexed or bent needles are what cause the damage to most machines that I see for repair. This needle system fits most upholstery class machines. This needle will fit most quilt machines that are set into tables permanently. That's what this needle mostly is for. But you'll notice they also have a bunch of different numbers. So 134R is the same as 135 by 5. And you'll notice you also see a 135 by 7 and a 135 by 25. Well, you're asking, why do they have different numbers on there? If it's the distance from the top of the head, the top of the eye of the needle to the top of the head of the needle, why do they have all of these different numbers? Well, they used to have a machine that fit this system, a machine that fit this system, and a machine that fit this system. Well, the needles are just slightly different. So the needle manufacturing companies said, no, wait, you guys are making all these machines. We're going to make these numbers from now on are all going to be for the same machine. You need to change the timing settings on your machines so that your machines will accept this needle, because we're not making just this needle and just this needle and just this needle. We're going to make one needle. It's going to be all in this range of machines. So that's why they have all of these different numbers on these packages, because in the manuals on a lot of these older machines, they will have different numbers like this. So you have to be able to find that number. And so looking on the package, you find the number that you need. And so you know that that needle will fit your machine. You may find some other ones that don't correspond to what you see in your manual for your machine, but as long as it's on this package, this needle will fit that machine. So this is the same needle as this, but you also see a 797. That's a different manufacturer's number, SY 1901 and 1905. That's for another machine manufacturer, but they all mean the same thing. So you got DPX5 over here and DPX7 and DPX5 here. These are all the same needle. You just have to remember to find the number, the system that actually fits your machine. This one, however, is going to be a little bit different. So if we look at this package of needles, 16X257, 16X257, they have the same numbers on these two different needle packages. However, they are not the same needle. The reason I say that is if you look at the head of the needle, look at the diameter of this head, this diameter, and this diameter. This is a much larger needle, larger in diameter. So the similarities are the numbers for the system are the same as the numbers for the system over here. You see 16X257, both there and there, 1738 there and there, DBX257, DBX1. They have all the same numbers on them, but these two needles are different. If you look at the diameter of the head of this needle and the diameter of the head of this needle is much smaller than this needle. You also have, in a few needles, it's that away. The distance from the top of the head to the top of the eye is the same on this needle and this needle, but the diameter of the head is totally different. These are mostly for garment sewing machines. This needle you can put into this needle bar because it is smaller in diameter. However, the distance from the tip of the hook to the scarf of the needle will not line up properly because this needle is a smaller diameter when you set the needle in place. This needle, you cannot put it in this needle bar because this needle won't go up in there. It's too large. So you have to make sure you bring in one of your old needles that you know works to make sure that you get the right diameter needle and the right system of needle, because that can be matched up through different packages. So if you don't have a package or you're not sure, you just have to have a needle that functions in your machine so that you can bring it in, and then we can help you get the correct needle for your machine. Well, I hope this demystifies some of the needle packages. And if you found something useful in this video, please like. And if you'd like to see more videos, subscribe. And if you want to be notified whenever we come out with a new video, just hit the bell and you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching.